I'm a novice trader, but before you click off, this might just be the wake up call you need, so just hear me out. The truth is, my losing weeks always get less views than my winning weeks, but those are the days and weeks that make you a better trader. This isn't about 10K green days or get rich quick highlight reels. Anyone can show you their profits, but keeping it, becoming consistent, managing the mental game, that's where real traders are made. If you want to become a consistently profitable trader, you need to study your losses and learn the lessons behind them. That's what this channel is all about. I'm here to show you the full story. If you guys don't like the losing days or the losing week videos and don't watch them, you do you, but that's where the lessons are. So stop chasing the dopamine video to video. Learn with me one real trading week at a time. This week, it's all about impulse control or lack thereof that I had this week and learning the nuances of my own strategy, which is why journaling is so important. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and look at an overview of the week. Now, we started the week with $2,578.59 and we ended the week at $2,546.29. So it was a very small loss for the week, but I didn't deserve that small loss. Honestly, it should have been much bigger, and we'll get into that, but we'll first go through the overview. So you can see on the TradeZeller account here that our average win to loss is 1.62. So that's slowly inching up, which is nice to see. Our daily win, too low. Profit factors obviously below 1, which means we're not profitable, which we can see that. Trade win percentage isn't great either. It's just one of those things where we're just trying to improve at this stage, and it's going to take repetition to get there. So it's not where it should be, but we're going to now. So overall on the account, we are at a loss of $362.66. Now let's go ahead and jump through day to day. Now, on Monday, it was a much of a muchness day, really. I did some good things, I did some bad things that I generally need to improve, but I don't think it was where I learnt most of my lessons of this week. So I won't be going too much into that particular day. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is where the real lessons came about, which we will get into. So if we pop into Wednesday and actually have a look at my daily note, really tough night, honestly. I struggled with direction and markup when we have a spike and wick on a higher time frame. I believe the best approach after the session is if there is one, I mark it up on my lowest time frame, which would be the 2 minute. So what I found was the way I mark up my charts, which I've showed before on the channel and on the series, is I don't use the wicks. I take the highest volume parts of the candle, or the spread, of the candle, which is essentially the candle itself and not including the wick. But what happens when I do this is if that's on my higher time frame, it's inaccurate draw ups, right? And I've noticed this, and I've actually done it in the past on this series, and I didn't quite learn from it. So again, these things just take time to learn, repetition. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm just starting to notice the continuous mistakes that I'm making that are really causing those losses in my trading account. So I'm really excited to actually go into next week and see how I can take those learning curves and really try and minimize the losses in the account by learning from my journaling. I'm upset about it because I have learned it in the past, but I also feel like these things take repetition. And sometimes when you start seeing things over and over again, that's when you really start to implement them, right? I said here as well, volume was relatively low this session, and I felt price wasn't moving a whole lot, but I still traded. So I probably shouldn't have traded this day because the volume was low as well. I think I could have not traded at all on this session. After research, I found FOMC was coming next day. I know that price can start to be choppy in anticipation of a big move. We got after midnight. I need to be more understanding of when the events are happening. Minimizing risk is also not trading when the environment doesn't call for good trades. So something I'm starting to learn as well, which TradeZeller actually helps you with this because they release a lot of stuff on their social media about news events and how price normally reacts before, during, and after these events. And that's actually where I learned my knowledge, I guess, around the fact that before an event, a lot of the time price gets low volume, it's choppy, because not a lot of people are, I guess, trading because they're waiting to see the outcome of that news, right? So basically, Wednesday was confusion on direction, a lot because of low volume, because of news, and because of my draw up and kind of learning the nuances when it comes to my draw up. Now, Thursday, let's have a look at Thursday. We were slightly up on the day, but it was actually a terrible day, which I'll get into later on in this video, so stay tuned. This day, my energy levels were okay. Mental capital was also okay. Nerves were slightly high as I found that the day would define the week, and having to show a losing week again would suck. In hindsight, I struggle when the chart is trending without any resistance in sight. In these cases, I need to not trade reversions and only trade 50% level trades. So I'm starting again to notice the nuances with my playbook and when I should really use those. If the chart is trending and I don't have any resistance levels that I can mark up because we're at all-time highs or whatever it may be, the approach I should be taking is only trading 50% level trades. So that's why Thursday was a really, really good lesson for me. Now, Friday sucked, and honestly, this trade just shouldn't even be there. I was very distracted this particular day. I was actually getting ready to film this video, kind of starting to script up, I guess, what I wanted to talk about in this video for you guys, because I try and do that to make sure I'm bringing value to these videos and not just kind of rocking up and discussing whatever. So I was actually doing a lot of that as well as other stuff that I needed to get done. So I wasn't focusing on the chart this day, but I had it up just because I was on my PC. And at the beginning of, I guess, when I was sitting at my computer, because it really wasn't a trading session, I was missing really nice trades. And I normally decided I wasn't going to trade because Friday's normally my worst day, but my energy levels were fine. And honestly, I probably should have just traded this day because there was no reason why I shouldn't have traded. But what had happened was I was seeing really beautiful trade setups go by, and I guess I got FOMO, and the one trade setup that I jumped into was a loss. So what I said on the daily note here for Friday was I was not paying attention to the chart all this night, should not have even traded. I saw multiple great setups go by, only to take this one and have it turn the slightly positive week into a losing one. So I was definitely feeling a bit sorry for myself here that I just made a very stupid mistake, but I'm glad that I took this trade and then didn't just try and earn that money back, right? I just said, look, it's a loss. I deserved it. It was a great lesson to learn. And sometimes you have to feel that pain and just actually absorb it and think about why you did it. That's kind of the overview of the week. I do not deserve this slightly negative week. Honestly, I feel that it should be a lot more, but I'm just grateful that I kind of was able to keep the loss at a low, to keep my mental capital feeling all right, because I feel like there was so much to absorb in this week. So let's actually jump into the trades I want to talk about. So I'm actually not going through any trades on Monday because although it was an up day, there was not a lot of learning lessons in that day particularly. So I want to focus on the lessons that I've learned this week, and a lot of them come from my losses. So I'm going to go ahead, jump into Thursday here, and go ahead and bring up the trade that we want to talk about. Now, this was a day where I felt like I was just trying to pick a top. I didn't have any resistance levels, but for some reason I was trading my reversion strategy, which obviously just doesn't help me out at all. So you can see I don't even have anything drawn up here. Like, we didn't really follow a strategy. Yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about that for a moment. It's basically, I come down here, no setup. I notice on days where we are trending, I try to pick the top without having an idea on resistance levels. Impulsive to get into a trade. I need to improve my directional bias when I get into a session. I need to understand the limitations of my setups. For example, in this case, we have to have resistance levels to act as an entry point for my reversion strategy. So I should have only played longs at 50% levels until the chart displayed otherwise. Now, I want to come up on the chart real quick because it was a stupid trade. There's nothing really to show you about the trade. But what I want to show you is what I found. I was like, how could I have played this day differently? I didn't look at the trade I made, just the trade I made. I wanted to look at what I could do differently. And if we have a look down here at the session, so I normally start around 6, right? We pumped up. We pulled back to a 50% level of this leg and continued. If you draw up a 50% level on this leg, we pulled back to a 50% level and continued. So now I've understood from these losing trades how to actually play the day differently. Sometimes you don't have to nitpick that particular trade. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense, but you got to figure out why didn't it make sense for this trading session. And I did that just by this loss, even though it was such a meaningless loss, right? So that's why I wanted to talk about that trade. Thing I liked is I kept my losses consistent throughout this trading session. So that was good, right? Now let's go through the second trade. So before we go through the chart, we'll go through my notes. I say trade setup was chasing a prior trade that I jumped out of quickly. Also, volume wasn't quite right here. Bad entry. If a 50% has been tapped twice already and fails to make a new high, it's low probability. Obviously emotions, I was chasing here. Slowly learning more nuances with my trading setup. For example, 2 taps on the 50% and fail to make a new high becomes a low probability zone for a setup. And when large wicks occur on timeframes, use the lower time frame to mark up the 50%, or even that if second leg isn't clear, few pullbacks in it, use the first pullback as the beginning of the leg, seen in next trade. So I'm starting to learn the nuances when it comes to marking up my zones, I guess you can say. And the thing is, I would not know this if I wasn't journaling, because you guys can see if you pop back to the last moment, which I'll show it up on the screen, I've talked about this before, and now I'm like, oh, this is a continual thing that I'm seeing here. I need to switch this up. So coming into next week, that's exactly what I'm going to try and do if I do see this come up in my trading, right? So Really nice to see that my journaling is paying off, that paying for TradeZella is paying off as well, because I'm starting to really see the nuances in my strategy and learning them and getting very intimate with my strategy and understanding in which ways I need to carry it out on a session to session basis when it comes to how price looks, right? Because price never looks exactly the same. And that's why I think trading can be a little bit harder as well. That was that trade. Again, kept my loss at a decent level, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, so that was really good. Now, the next trade that I want to talk about is the huge win. And the reason why I say like these trading sessions weren't the best was because I felt like all of the trading sessions, which you would have seen before, I'm lost, and then big win to cover most of my losses. What if I did that differently? And these are the things I'm picking up, and that it's because I didn't mark up those levels correctly, or I was trading the incorrect strategy at that point in time in the chart. But this trade, I absolutely aced it. And I want to go through this one, and I'll break up my strategy as well in this one because I did it so well. But we'll go through my notes first. Trade setup was nice, 50% 5-minute and volume to confirm. Entry was great, and I followed my stop placement. However, I took profit really early. So I'm talking about that I was down most of the night, and this trade I knew would put me in the green, so I had no mental strength to hold. Original TP was about 24,760 because it was a measured move. Nervous to enter because I had lost so much this session, but I felt I owed it to myself to make that right setup work and to actually enter when I really felt like everything was aligning. And also just building up, I guess, the statistics and the numbers, and building up those trades that work and building up those trades that don't, and being able to actually look back and compile those and go, what did I do wrong in these and what did I did right in these? At this point, which I get a lot of people kind of commenting, oh, just take one trade a day. To build up my statistics and be able to look back at a bigger number of trades to work out what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong and really be able to pull out those nuances. If I was taking one trade a day, it would take me 10 years to build up those statistics. I'm okay with losing at the moment. I'm okay with this learning curve that I'm going through because I need to build up that knowledge and the statistics around my trading, work out what's working, what's not, what mistakes cause those losses, and build up that knowledge. And if I'm trading one trade a day, great. If it works, cool. But if it doesn't, I'm only slowing the, I guess, learning curve because I don't have things to refer back to. Sometimes you've got to repeatedly make those same mistakes to easily learn more, right? And I hope that kind of makes sense to you guys. And that's why I don't just want to take one trade a day. I have discipline, and I can guarantee you I exercise most days. I sit here every weekend going through my trades. I trade and journal every single day. As you guys see, my discipline is well and truly above a lot of people out there. And I'm doing this while working a full-time job Monday to Friday. So I know my discipline is good. You can see my losses. I rarely ever take losses larger than what my set loss is. So the discipline here is not the issue. I do not need to prove that to myself. What I need to do is build up statistics and build up and compile what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, and slowly improve those. And the only way I understand or pick out those nuances is by having a database to pull from and go, I've done this in the past. I can actually pull it up, right? Lessons learned, wait for volume to confirm an exit and pull profit to below 50% mark as shown above. This should help me hold to original TP. So in this trading session, we didn't have really any higher resistance zones other than the previous high of that move. But you can see here, I marked up a zone here. And the reason why I did that was because on the 5-minute, you can see we had this leg and then we kind of had like an unclear second leg here. We had a few pullbacks. So I marked the first leg from the first original pullback, which was here. So I marked it there. So as we can see here, we saw the volume drop as it was still moving down and then it spike on this move here. So when I see that happen at my zone, that's when I start looking at the tape and seeing if I'm seeing buyers come in. I might be able to see sellers get absorbed here, but what I want to see is, are buyers starting to step in here? Are we building buying momentum? As you can see here, obviously, we've touched the 50%. We've seen the dropping of volume, the spike in volume. If we pop down to the 2-minute for a moment, this is what we see. Again, we had a very similar thing, dropping in volume, and we had that spike. All right. So in this case, obviously my entry was here around that point. Now if we pop out on the 5-minute, my stop was at the 5-minute low, last 5-minute low, which was about here. And my take profit, obviously, were about here. As you can see, when I entered this trade, that's kind of what we did there, right? Now, I was risking a fair bit on this trade, so that's where we messed up. And why did I do that? Because I took loss after loss after loss, and I wanted to make my money back. That's not how I should trade. But this trade setup did feel like it was a right setup, right? And that's why I really felt that I should do it. That's essentially the trade. Now, what I meant by I should have, because my original target, right, was up here. Now, the reason I said measured move. Now, Al Brooks talks a lot about measured moves. So what I normally do is if I've marked up a 50% zone, what I'll do is I'll move it from here. I will put the 50% at the top of the pullback, I guess, and mark up roughly, obviously it'll put it on the bottom here. And what I do is that I'm targeting the area that the measured move is at. So if you have a look here, that's why 760, I just kind of look at it whole numbers, 24,760 was my original target. And you can see it was pretty well perfectly to that zone. So if I was able to sit through the pullbacks, I would have been able to capitalize even more on this trade. So it was a really good trade. And that's kind of something that I want to talk about, because it was just a very, very good trade based on the strategy. I followed what I needed to. So I was really happy with how it turned out. So the last trade that I want to talk about is Friday's trade. So let's go ahead, pop into the trade and read what we have to say. Okay, setup, 50% 30 below, 50% 5 hit with volume to confirm. Structure was not considered at all in this trade and shows my lack of focus in the session. Entry sucks, stops loss sucked, FOMO. So basically I had major FOMO during this session because I saw so many good setups past me. I wasn't really trading. I didn't really think to trade, but then because I missed all those, I just took this trade. It was just an impulsive move, honestly. Do not trade unless focused. Unless I am sitting at the chart consciously trading, I should not trade, right? And that's the lesson I learned here. Unfortunately, the loss, it's a hard lesson, but it's gonna stick, right? So what I'm talking about here, obviously we do have the 50%. We've got the 50% below, as we discussed in the notes. We've got volume to confirm. So we've got dropping volume on the pullback and then the spike on this candle, which was near the 50%. But what we didn't consider was levels. So you've got a 30-minute level here. You've got a 5-minute level here. We took a short right at a 5-minute support level. Doesn't make sense, right? If you have a look as well, which I don't have marked up right now, we also had a bit of a trend line going here as well. We had so many resistance or support, I should say, for the upside in this trade that I just should not have gone short here. If we have a look at the 30-minute, we also had a nice push up here. We broke the high and we're finding support down here. So possible continuation is what I see here based on that, especially on the volume. You've got the basically dropping in volume and then pushing up, more volume stepping in as we're going higher. So just a stupid trade basically, but we live and we learn, right? And I'm just starting to get more accepting of the fact that I'm not going to learn straight away. It's not going to be, I'm doing weekly reviews, but you're probably going to see some of the same stuff repeated over and over again. And that's why I want you guys to follow this journey, because I truly feel as though it's going to show you how to become a profitable trader. I have faith in myself because I know the dedication that I have. I know the discipline that I have at looking at my trades, I guess reflecting on myself, how I mess up and trying to be better because of that, right? So what did we learn this week? Number one was I get into impulsive trades when I have FOMO. If I miss trades prior, I start getting impulsive with my trades because I just want to win, because I feel like I've missed out on winning prior. So that is something that we need to, I guess, keep an eye on in the future and coming weeks. Number two is I take impulsive trades when I'm sure about direction. So if the markup wasn't right, or if I don't have resistance levels and support levels, I start shorting and just trying to catch the top, and I make impulsive trades like that. So that's something for me to remember in the coming weeks, is that if we are trending up or down and I don't have any support or resistance levels to mark up, I should not be trading my reversion strategy. So being more mindful of that and knowing the nuances in my trading. Lastly is the nuances itself, just understanding that if we've got a bigger wick on a higher time frame, I need to be marking my levels up based on the lower time frame to really get that more accurate on my 50% drawback points. So that's something that I've learned this week, and I've learned in other weeks, but again, it's kind of been really drilled into me this week. So hopefully when we come back next week, we're going to be coming back a whole lot stronger and taking those things into consideration as well. I really believe that the nuances within your trading system itself is probably one of the most important things when it comes to your trading. And that's why it's so important to journal your trades. If you guys are interested in using TradeZella, which I think you should, I do for clear reasons, as you've seen on the series. If you want to check it out, click the link below and use the code NOVICE10 to get 10% off. If you don't want to use the code, by all means, don't use the code. But for the love of God, just journal your trades. I know I didn't in the beginning, and I feel like I wasted so much time because I didn't. All right, guys, it's time to draw the winner of Al Brooks' trading course and Anna Cooling's book on volume price analysis. I just want to say, guys, thank you for all the kind comments. Thank you for connecting with me. It's all I want out of this channel, and I I just appreciate it. Even the ones that are critiquing my trading, I absolutely love that you want to share what you think about my trading, because I'm taking it all in, and I reflect on what you guys say, whether I feel that yes, I can take those things in, or it's probably not quite for me and doesn't fit my personality. I love that you guys feel you want to connect and share what you think about your trading or my trading, and just to connect over it. So I just want to say thank you guys, and yeah, let's go ahead and read out the winner. So drum roll, winner was Milo Spurkovic 9512. Now I'm probably put that up on the screen just because I totally butchered that. But have a look at the comment, guys, because there's a lot in this comment that made me want to pick him as a winner. He's journaling. He's not trading real money yet. He's doing the work, right? That's what I was drawn to. It wasn't just like, oh, I just want to win the course, or, oh, I've been trading this long and this is what I'm struggling with. I felt like he was doing the work, and I wanted to give the course to someone who's not only going to absorb the content, but actually do the work to learn how to execute it in real time on the markets and use what he learned and put the work in. And Milo, that's why you won it. So if for whatever reason you do not see me reach out to you on your comment, please go ahead, drop down in the description below. You'll see an email there. Please contact me on that so we can organize to get this prize to you as soon as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed the video for this week, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.